Hi, my name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED. I'm back with Luca, IK2NCJ. This is part 2. Luca is now actually on Cape Verde at the D4C station, and I'm really looking forward to continuing the dialogue. If you haven't seen part 1, please do. In part 1, we get into Luca's background in ham radio, some of the earliest contest stations that he operated from, and we just barely touched on D4C, and we're going to take a deeper dive today. Before we get started, I just want to go through some of the results from D4C that you can find online. Go to d4c.cc to get more details. Recently, 2024, CQ Worldwide CW Contest, E77DX Emir, finished first in the world in this single operator all-band high-power category. In 2023, in the CQ Worldwide WPX Contest, single sideband, again, E77DX finished first in the world in the single operator all-band high-power category. In 2022, CQ Worldwide DX single sideband contest in a multi effort, the team finished first in the world. That included IK2NCJ, G4CLA, GD4XUM, G4BVY, M5RIC, IZ4DPV, SQ9D, HB9CAT, N0VD, and EA8FF. In 2022, in the CQ Worldwide WPX-CW, again another first-in-the-world finish, multi-single, with HB9AMO, HB9ARF, and HB9CAT. 2022, in the IOTA contest, again, first in the world, multi-2, non-D-Expedition, G4CLA, G4BVY, GD4XUM, G4PVM. They also set a new world record in that category. In 2022, CQ Worldwide WPX single sideband, again, first in the world, multi by G4BVY, G4CLA, GD4XUM, IK2NCJ, IZ4DPV, and SQ9D. And the list goes on. If you'd like to see the full list of results from D4C, go to d4c.cc on the internet. It's a pretty extensive and pretty impressive list. And with that, I'd like to welcome Luca back to the show. Hi, Luca. Thanks for joining me again.
Yeah, exactly. You can see on our website all the results we did in the past years, over the last 15 years, actually. And, was one day I was preparing a presentation for a Hamfest, and I was calculating how many first world we did, and actually it was, the percentage was almost 75% of the contest we joined. So at a certain point you don't realize exactly where you are, but when you look back the numbers, and then you see really something very interesting. And so this is the the result of a team job, our job for the entire team. 90% done at home from Europe, trying to organize everything properly and to get the best result as possible once we are here, to make a very easy setup, efficient setup. But there is always Murphy with us in the team. We never invited him, but there is always. We have always to face something that we have to struggle with.
Well, it's a really impressive list, and that's why I wanted to start with that. When you look down through that list and see first world, second world, it just keeps going on forever. And for anybody who doesn't have experience with D4C and haven't made contact, which I don't think there's many of us, it's just really impressive to look at that list and see the longevity going right back to 2007, and then most recently with Emir E77DX, probably setting a new world record in the CQ Worldwide CW contest. So with that as a background, I want to start at the beginning again. I've seen the photos of Mount Verde and the D4C Superstation. Anybody who saw part 1 has seen that. It's really impressive. Tell me how you found that property again, and what was there when you first arrived?
Actually, it was a very easy finding for us, because we were already active from another island since maybe 4 or 5 years. And then while we were activating the Sal Island as D44 Tango Delta, Alexander 4 Lima 5 Alpha appeared on Cape Verde, and he had a contact because of probably his business. I think he was involved in telecommunication, so he got in contact with people here, and he found this location in top of the mountain. That actually there is an army army camp very close to us. We are our neighbors. So there is a road that well maintained, so there is easy connection to the place, and so we start to build the stations after a test. I think in WPX SSB 2002, I guess. He ran a single op 10 meter high power, and he did a world record immediately with a temporary antenna setup and in a small shack here where there is a broadcast FM radio transmitter. So, and then, with Alexander, we always had very good relations, not, always sharing information, sharing activities, sharing all the, contest stories as usual. And when I decided to quit the place, we were the first ones that he got in contact with to try to pass this location. So actually we got the deal after a while, and when I arrived, actually I was the first one visiting the site after he quit. Actually there were some towers still installed, but the house was completely empty. Actually, if I remember well, Alexander sold all the equipments to ZS4 Tango X-Ray. So actually, from one side, it was a little bit depressing because you don't see anything in the house, and so you just can't figure out how big is the job to reactivate the station and so on. But from the other side, and after a while, you understand that it was a lucky situation because we could redesign completely from scratch the project. So this make us in condition to proceed step by step, slowly because of the distance and logistic difficulties and so on. But at the end, we could start with the station as we wanted since the beginning. The first thing that we cut off from Alexander station philosophy were the rotors. So no rotors at all in these, many antennas, but no rotors because they cannot survive. So it was actually a winning decision for us.
And how many acres does that include?
Actually, the house is, I was speaking meter because I'm not good in converting in square feet, but the house is around 100 square meter. It has one big room that is the shack actually where all the operators are. That has a corner for a kitchen. Then has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. And then all around there is the land that is 8,000 square meter, and it is uphill or downhill depending where you are. So it's not flat. From one part it is not an advantage. Because it's very difficult to get cranes, for example, to make maintenance, so you have to do everything by yourself with the hands and legs. But from the other side, it's good because we have a very good takeoff angle, so you gain more gain in the angle of the antennas. So it's going to be very easy to get long distance openings, and even in very low sun activity, we still have good openings on 10 meters. Not long, but actually we are probably the only station in the world that makes some 100 countries, for example, in secure wide, even if you have 5 or 10 sunspots active.
So Luca, obviously owning property in another country, and I think Cape Verde is something like 350 miles off the coast of Africa, so it's distant. The logistics of just getting equipment there is a challenge. But I'm just curious what other challenges you have being a property owner in Cape Verde. Is there any concern about security or vandalism? What's your experience been with that?
Yeah, we are always see from local people like guests, actually, or invaders. I don't know how you want to tell it. So we try to keep good relation with everybody. We allow people to enter the property because you have a very nice view to the Mindelo town, that is the capital city of São Vicente Island. So we let them enter, hoping that nobody hurts themselves while stepping, because you can imagine we have a lot of wires on the ground, for example, for the radials and the guy wires from the towers. So we try to keep a good relation with the locals. We had sometimes some problems, but definitely not too important. But of course, the distance make everything more difficult than usual. So you cannot. It is not like just half an hour or 1 hour driving from home to the station. You have to catch 2 flights, and it's not so easy. Honestly speaking, once Mark Eco Alpha 8 Florida moved here, now he's D4C Florida, and he's permanently stable here at the station, makes everything more easy, and we can. Since that moment, we really could expand the project in different directions and improve the performance and have less maintenance problems, because he's here, so he see immediately if something is wrong, or tower with problem, antenna with problem, so we immediately can get the people, some friends here helping us to fix it. So this means that once we arrive here for a contest, let's say that 90% of the things are external things are working. I say 90% because maybe you still have some cables to change because we have humidity inside the coax or stuff like that. Redo a connector, so it's never 100%, but it's 90%. And I can tell you that before Mark arrived here, it was much worse. So we had to spend 4 or 5 days just fixing things outside with any kind of weather. That I can tell you, this can be really frustrating and terrible sometimes.
So Luca, we've seen somebody walk behind you 3 or 4 times. Is that Echo Alpha 8 Fox?
Yeah, exactly. It's Mark is here around. We are working on some VHF things now.
So since you're in the shack, could you just give us maybe a verbal walkthrough? What does that look like around that house?
Yeah. Actually, the house, we have no equipment here because we take everything in town, amplifiers, the radio, because in town there is less humidity. So, but actually, this is the main shack. We built these tables by ourselves, and this is the kitchen that Mark made. This is Mark. Hello, Mark. And then there is an extra room up there. And then a couple of years ago, we make this ceiling area to add more space for the operator because it was already too crowded. When we started to add the in-band station, there was not enough space at the floor level, let's say, and so we. It's funny because I was in vacation a couple of years ago with Piotr SQ9D, one of our teammates, and we were drinking a very good Sicilian white wine, and it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, and he said, "Wow, I have an idea. Why we don't do something hang on the ceiling to have more space?" So, okay, let's call Mark and see what he thinks, and then after 3 months, we have this possibility for extra. Actually, there are 4 seats more than before.
So, what's the maximum amount of operators that can be there at a time?
The maximum was something like 13. So it's not. They are not really enough to run properly in band during a multi operation for CQ worldwide, but we have to live with it. The bedroom has full bed, so we can rotate over the hours, and some of them can get food. We have there also a recreative room that is one of the 2 bedrooms that is converted in recreative room, so they can have They can fix things or if needed, or they can stay there and have a chat, have a food, have playing with the smartphones or whatever. So just distract the brain from the content itself, because it's very important to be, when you sit, it's very important to have a clear and strong feeling at the keyboard. And then so fortunately you have enough space to rotate these people and have a rest and everything for the entire contest. So this is quite important, because driving home, let's say driving town, it takes about 30 minutes. So if you just think you need 1 hour to go back and have a rest and then come back here, and you never get a real rest. So it's not good for the operators.
So Luca, one of the questions that I consistently get when I talk to anybody that has any sort of station, but particularly the large contest stations, people want to know in detail what you use for equipment. And I know you don't have it there with you now, but can you just go through the list of what you use for equipment, and not just the gear itself, the radios and the amplifiers, but what you use for switching equipment? And I presume that it's the same at every station, but if it's not, let me know that.
Yeah, actually, first of all, you should know that the technical part is very simple. We decide to keep it very simple, just to avoid failures during the contest, or because it's very difficult anyway, even before the contest, to fix things when you find them here broken and you don't know they are broken. So this station is actually we use flex radios, and because they make very easy to handle the in-band, because we use 6600 and 6700 models of the flex radio, so they have double screw, and so actually you can get one radio and two operators doing different things in the same time. So this is very good, because with few cables you can connect the in-band, and you have two operators on any band you want. Potential of the radio is much more, but we cannot go for it. So, and as amplifiers, we switch 3 or 4 years ago to solid state amplifiers. So we have monobanders amplifiers, especially design, and it's legal power 1.5 kilowatt, and they are very easy to use, because you don't need to make any tuning, and you just need to set up the input power, and then you get the full power out. So they are very easy, even for the people that is approaching the station for the first time. They don't have to struggle too much with the knobs and buttons or stuff like that. Honestly speaking, what we are facing now is this difficulty for people that never play with the flex radio to be interfaced correctly to the radio. So they are afraid to touch things. So it's limiting the operativeness of people. Even if they are very good operators, they don't know exactly where to find the notch, or how to set the filters, and so they keep going as it is, and sometimes, especially on the low bands, it's not the perfect tuning. So we are thinking to add an extra, let's say, more traditional radio. So we will probably test this new setup, part of this new setup on the next WPX, as we would like to put some Yaesu in parallel to the flex radio, and to see how it's going to work. For switching, actually, we don't need much switching, because it's a multi, so we have 6 stations, 1 per band, and the only switch we have is external, where from the inside we can switch the correct antenna according to the direction we want to transmit and receive. So every band has at least 3 antennas. But most of them are 4, so from 10 to 20 we have 4 antennas with stacks also, and stacks are fixed, because just to keep things very easy and simple. And then we have the 4 square on 80 meter, we have vertical on 160, and then on 40 meter we have only 3 antenna. It's one of these, there are 3 element wire Yagi, and one of these antennas is a stack to Europe with 3/3, and then we have a simple antenna to North America that work very well because it's exactly close to the cliff, and the first thing it can touch in the ground, it's 400 meters away, deep down. So it's actually like a flying antenna. And then we have another three element to Papa Yankee to work the South Americans and Zulu Lima and over the long path. So it's very effective for quite a good number of QSO, especially from South America.
So I appreciate that you do primarily multi-multis there, but I know that Emir E770X was there as a single operator, and it looked like he might have brought some of his own switching. Was that right?
Yeah, exactly. Brazzo brought his own switching system. Also, José, CT1BOH, was here a few years ago, and also I recommend him to bring his stuff because for what I said before, is not sure. We are not organized for this kind of operation at that specific to BSIQ system. And so I recommend them to bring their stuff, so we are sure that everything is working properly. They are familiar with their stuff, so they don't have to struggle during the contest what they have to press to switch this or to do this. And I think it worked very well for both of them. Station, of course, in the background of the project, in the backlog, we have also a new automatic system that actually is, I don't know if you can see it, I cannot locate it where it is. Okay, it's this box with the map. Inside there is a lot of things. There are a lot of things that are not connected yet. So
give us the list. What is inside that mystery box?
Actually, mainly relay boards to switch things from one station to another or stuff like that. We want to automate. To have an automation of the station because we like maybe sometimes we have not enough operator for multi-multi, so we may need to switch to multi-single. That actually I consider the most difficult category, technically speaking, but not only, of course, but technically speaking, you need really a very flexible station. And then if we switch also to multi-2, we need interlock system between the radio, and so it's you need something automatic. I'm laughing because Piotr is working on it since last 3 years, and still there is not a single wire getting out from this wooden box. So I don't know when we'll be ready for that.
That sounds like ham radio to me.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got some very talented operators that work from D4C. Obviously, I've mentioned the E770X, probably set a world record. You just mentioned José, CT1BOH. How do you develop a schedule for the year? Like, what does the 2025 schedule look like, and how do you decide if it's going to be multi-op or single-op, and who those operators are going to be? Because I expect the station is in pretty high demand.
Yeah, actually, we have a very big limitation, that is the flight cost. This really create a lot of economical problems to everybody who likes to come here. So it's not so easy to get people involved in contesting. Actually, we set a schedule like generally we work on WPX SSB, where we test new things in real field, on the field, focusing on the next CQ worldwide SSB, of course, and then we do some, maybe over the years we do some single op, single band, but not serially scheduled. Then the next schedule is CQ worldwide SSB, and then if there are enough operators, we may organize something for CQ worldwide CW. In case there is no possibility to have a single operator or multi-operator, I do some operation from home by remote, but it is not the same thing, of course. But mainly these are the main activity we do over the year.
So tell me more about that. How do you set up the remote?
The remote is set up with a flex radio 6600 that allow really very easy handling of the station over the internet. And then I have a solid state amplifier multiband RF2KS that is my opinion, the best I have tried. So it's very reliable and give a kilowatt output without any problems. And then I can switch with the remote QTH stuff. I can switch between the bands, and I can control the antennas on each band. So it's actually it's like to be here, but it's not like to be here.
Luca, when we ended our last call, you said you have a lot of stories. There could be a movie. And so I'm just curious about some of those stories. And just to give you a prompt, do you recall one of the biggest disasters you had there at D4C, the biggest challenge you had?
Yeah, actually, we have a couple of big disasters. One was from the towers left from Alexander, because they were just a zinc iron, and from the external part they look okay, but the corrosion was working from inside of the tubing. So one day somebody called me from here and said, one of your 40-meter high tower is on the ground. And fortunately, it was in a quite free area, so it didn't have a possibility to hit any other tower. But we had 4 of that tower, and so we decided to cut all of them out, because they had the same problem at the tubing. So sooner or later they would fall down easily. This was one of the first topic we had in terms of disaster. Then the second one was I don't remember, probably it was 2012 if I'm not wrong. We had a hurricane passing by, and somebody told me that one of the gusts was measured at 220 kilometers per hour, hitting the mountain, and then so it rise up exactly where one of the tower was close to the cliff. And so actually he lift up the tower and break the guy wires, and fortunately the tower, instead of falling down in the cliff, fall on the ground, on the soil, on the terrain. So it was possible to restore it with some adjustments, but we lost that time. We had something like 3 antennas on it, and so we lost those 3 antennas. So I think it was 50 meters Yagis. But this is, it's equatorial area, so it's very easy to find this kind of strong winds. Winds is always here, not so strong, of course. The good part of the wind is it has no gust, so it is continuously blowing the same speed. So yes, some gust sometimes, but not 0 to 100. It's like 70 to 90. So with the flexibility of the towers, we can survive, and but we have always something in our pocket to restore quickly part of the damage.
So with that kind of weather, I'm suspecting you must have had some power issues in the past, and it just reminded me that I thought I saw Emir sitting in the dark. I don't know if that was during the contest or the days beforehand, but have you had some significant issues with power outages?
No, not really. Actually, we have the power line from the town that is quite stable. But of course, during the contest, we use our own generator, because we must be sure that we don't lose power during the contest. Otherwise, we have to restart the station completely, and it's not good until waiting for the electricity, of course. Actually, what happened is that on last secure worldwide SSB, our generator had a failure. So to run the contest, we had to look for another generator that we were lucky to have it rented. But we had it is still not repaired. We are missing some spare parts, and we'll take it in during the next trip. And so what happened is that Brazzo was here without a spare generator, so he had a problem to the local electricity, so he had to wait sometimes to get it back. In case he had the generator, he could run the generator and to be completely independent from this kind of trouble. But sometimes can happen, so I'm very sorry it happened to him.
So you've obviously intersected with some pretty top-notch operators. Any stories regarding any of them? You don't have to mention names if you don't want to.
When we organized the contest team it was very good always that we find very good people in terms of team effort, but not only. During the free time we have, after we assemble the station and we go in town, there is a very good atmosphere, very good friendship, and we have good dinners, good beer all together. So this is one of the most important things we count on, because if you start to have people that is struggling, or always complaining for something, make everything more difficult, makes people nervous. So it is important to have also very good feeling between the operators. I had we were so lucky to have always very good operators, especially on CW, but not only, of course, also on SSB. And it was very interesting, especially at the beginning, to see those Latvian operators or Lithuanian operators working this CW, picking up 3 calls at a time, and then you work the first call with the keyboard, the second one with the keyer, and then the third one again with the keyboard. So it was very, very interesting to see that this style of operative style from these people. For the rest, it's. I think the results speak themselves. That the teams were always dedicated to the target. So. Of course, we need a strong preparation on that and the background, but once people arrive here, they are always very satisfied, and they like a lot to operate here. Just to say something, before the contest or when we are here trying to set up the station to make maintenance, I always ask myself sometimes why I'm doing this. Because sometimes you are in the field and the wind is so strong, and the humidity, there is a lot of mud on the soil, so it makes everything very difficult. Then you enter and you say, okay, now let's test what we've done. Then you put the headphone and say, now I understand why I am here. So, because it's definitely a paradise for amateurradio.
One of the things I noticed was there didn't seem to be a lot of U.S. operators that come over to D4C. Is that primarily a cost and logistics issue?
I think so, yes, I think so. We have few of them. We had the K1 RX, we had the N0 VD, we had K1 Echo Papa, we had some of them, but I understand it is difficult to come from the other side of the world over here, because for example, Kelly, that is now he used to come to be our guest operator since a while. He has to take 3 flights because he's in Arizona, so he has to fly, I think, to Miami, then to Miami to Lisbon, and then from Lisbon to here. And sometimes he miss one of the flights, so it's gonna miss 1 or 2 days somewhere lost in the world. So it is not easy to move here.
Luca, as we close up, I have a lot of listeners to the show, the channel, that are beginner or intermediate contesters, and they listen to people like yourself and K5ZD and N6MJ and José, CT1BOH, and they're trying to get hints on how they can improve their skill level. And maybe they've started later in life. They haven't had the opportunity to start at 13 years old or 17 years old. What's your advice for those types of ham radio operators that are intrigued by what you do at your level and they want to try to get better?
Yeah, first of all, unfortunately, depends which level you want to reach, first of all. Because from this point, you can set your target and you can work accordingly. I come from VHF story in contest. So in VHF was very clear that the location was a topic, the most important thing to be to have to be a winner or to be a competitive. Let's say competitive. This is better than winner, because to be competitive and to be winner, there are some details in between. So if you have a good location and you want to start to with a contest in a certain level. You have to try to, I think, organize the station in the way you can very easily operated, and you can easily get the maximum effort, the maximum performance of the station itself. And then after few contests, you will, if you analyze your logs and you compare your logs with somebody else, maybe close to your area, or maybe same town or same geographical area, you can understand where he did better than you, or where you did better than him, and so you can improve where you did worse. For example, here before we decide to put stacks on the towers, I think I spent 3 or 4 months making simulation with HFTA to understand what was the best height from the ground, the best distance from the antennas, and to try to have a base to start, because actually what is on paper and not always, or I may say never, works as expected. So you have to make some real adjustments, but you have to start from something. So it's if you have a software, you can organize better the developments. And if you like, for example, to improve your CW skill, there are many simulators now that you can use, and you can get more familiar with the PyLabs, and then keep rolling every contest. After every contest, I have to have this same approach on the data you have collected. Actually, contest is a collecting data moment. So if you read your data and you compare with the previous years or the previous 2 years, or with other station, you may have a clear idea where to move on and to get a better performance.
It's a very thorough answer, and I appreciate it very much. When's the next contest where we'll hear D4C or one of your call signs on?
Not sure yet, but probably Massimo as a 4DPV will be here for 160 SSB, secure wide, and maybe some activity for SSBA RRL, but not sure. For sure we'll be active during the WPX SSB contest while we are bringing more stuff, new stuff, and we want to test them. So this is going to be probably the best opportunity to hear D4C or D4Z on the air.
Well, I'll be operating from Turks and Caicos during the WPX phone contest, so I will absolutely be looking for D4C to get you in my log.
Thank you.
Luca, thank you for the second interview. I appreciate it very much, and I hope not only to get you in the log, but to meet you in person sometime soon.
Yeah, before I go, let me thank a lot my teammates and all the people that worked before with them to make everything possible here. So the actual team is SQ9D Piotr from Poland, IZ4DPV Massimo from Italy, myself, and then there is Echo Alpha 8 Florida, now D44 Florida, and also Mike Delta Mike 5 X-ray that is one of our key points for electronics parts and the new boxes, and not as last Andrea H9DR that is taking care of the QSLing, direct QSLing that we always receive in big numbers. So thanks to these people, and thanks to my wife that support myself since many years in this crazy project.
Well, I appreciate you doing that, because it certainly takes a team, number one, and number two, if it wasn't for our significant others allowing us to do this, you and I on a Saturday making this call, then none of it would be possible. So thank you for taking the time to do that. My name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED. I've been talking to Luca Aliprandi, IK2NCJ from D4C in Cape Verde. Thank you, Luca.
Thank you very much. See you in the contest.